Hi, my name is Subhas Pandey. I am working as a computer teacher and at an HOD computer science in a reputed organization from last 20 years. I want to share my knowledge with you through my YouTube channel Learn Computer from Subhas. This is my first series of educational video on Python. So in this video, we'll discuss program logic development tools. So for writing a computer program, the basic requirements are there are some tools through which we can develop the logic of the program or steps of the program. But before that, it is required that we must have some basic knowledge regarding a programming language. And as you practice more and more, our analytical ability increases and we can write program or can develop program logics much better. Next thing is required that before writing any program, we have to analyze the problem and develop an algorithm to solve it. So we have to know what is the problem is there, what are the requirement, how to solve it. Since I am in the teaching field of computer science from last 20 years, so I find it that some students wants to write program but they finds it very difficult to write the program. So what they do, they generally memorizes some of the programs, and if those programs are there in their question paper, they then that they can solve. But in this way, they are not learning the basic programming ability, or they are not developing their logical ability. Their IQ level remains same. So what is the requirement there? First, they have to go through the language thoroughly. They have to learn the syntax, grammar of the language. They have to learn the keywords, and they have to learn how to write the statements, how to write the steps. Then they can write better programming. We have some tools for program logic development. These are the algorithm, flowchart, and decision trees. We learn one by one all these things. So what is actually algorithm is? Algorithm is nothing but it is these are the steps of writing the writing program. So each program is divided in subparts and each parts requires some set of statements. So their sequence and how to write and how to solve this, these things are there. So it is the step by step procedure to solve a given problem. Now one example, very simple example is there. Suppose I want to calculate the simple interest. So first I have to know the formula required for the calculation of simple interest. What is simple interest? Then what are the requirements for getting the simple interest? Principal, rate and time. So we have to first we have to input it, get the values from the user, or you can store these values in a program. And then next step is to calculate this simple interest, store it in some variables or directly print it. So these are the basic steps required to write a program in simple steps in simple interest. Same way, all the complicated programs has some requirements, some steps and some formulas or some logics are there, some tricks are there through which they can be solved. So as we practice program, then we can develop our logic more and more. Some of the logics we can learn through books, some through the teachers, and some we can develop with our IQ level. Now next is flowchart. Flowchart is the pictorial representations of steps of program. These are the graphs of these are the steps of program in a graphical way. So some of the symbols are required to draw the flowchart. These symbols are this is the start, this is the start and end symbol. Each and every flowchart starts with this symbol and ends with this symbol. This is the arrow. Uh, this gives the flow of the program, in which direction the control of the program is moving. This is the input output. If you want to take some input, then this symbol is used, and if you want to print something or give output, then this symbol is used. Process, for every type of process, either storing some value, writing formulas and these types of things. Next is the decision tree. So for conditional statements, whether which gives two results, either true or false, this symbol is used. A diamond single, for process a rectangle, for input output a parallelogram, for the flow of control arrow, and this is start and oval represents. Now this is an example of a flowchart. I want to calculate the factorial of a number. Now start with the start symbol, get the value of the number for which the factorial is required to be calculated, input n. Then initialize the values where the calculation is going on. So m is the variable through which the loop will continue, or the number of counts through which the factorial will be calculated. F is the variable where the factorial value will be stored. Now every time the factorial f is multiplied with the m, and it is checked whether the control variable, this is the index variable, I mean the index or now counts of the loop. If m is equal to n, then the process is complete. will get the factorial, give the output and ends. If m is lesser than n, then it will again increment the counter. M is counter variable, and again this process will continue. So this is the loop. Now before doing this program, the students should know what is factorial is. So factorial is nothing but it is the multiplication of all the numbers from 1 to that up to that number, uh, which gives the factorial of that number. Suppose if I am to get the factorial of 5, then factorial of 5 is the multiplication of 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So it is 120. Now if we can understand this flow chart with the algorithm, then it will be very easy to write the program. Now next tool of the program logic development is the decision trees. These are nothing but the control statements. Control statements, that is the if conditional statements, gives two types of results, either true or false. So in true case, the flow will the program control will flow in which direction, and if it is false, then in which direction. So it is a tree like a structure, and each tree is divided in two branches, and then again this continues until the end of the logic. So one of the example of decision tree, suppose I want to take a decision whether which is a person is fit or not. So a person is fit if his age is less than 30. So if he is less than 30 years, then it goes to the other conditional statement. It's lot of pizzas. If a person is eating lot of pizzas, then obviously he will be unfit. And if he is not eating the pizzas, then will be fit. This is the condition. And in this case, if age is not less than, so if the person is doing the daily exercise, if yes, then he is fit, otherwise unfit. So this is the one of the decision tree. So all these things, this is the control statement, decision if else, then here and there. This is a decision tree. Now after writing this flowchart, decision tree, and procedure and all the algorithm, we can write the program much better way. So I'm showing you the program using the flowchart of calculation for the factorial. So factorial, you can calculate the factorial. How we can calculate the factorial? So what are the requirements? First we have to declare a value f, where we will store the factorial value. Then it is required to run the loop. So loop will start with from 1. So the first value of loop, and then run a loop for. We will learn the syntax of this for loop later on in the next videos. For I in range, 1 to n. Inside this, let me calculate the f is equal to f into equal to I. Then increase the value of I is equal to I plus 1. So at the end, when you count, when the indentation of this, when the indentation, the loop is of for these two statements, it will run in these two statements. And when we are writing after this indentation, before this indentation, then that is the this statement is not a part of loop. So calculate the factorial. The factorial is f. So we have missing one steps, that is the accepting the value of n. So n is equal to integer input, and then message enter value. So this is the whole program. So again I am explaining this. This app will store the factorial calculated factorial value. I will run the loop. It will count the number of number of loop counts, how many times the loop is running, and in this statement we are getting the value of n. And in this for looping statements, I is the counter variable, that is the through I the loop is running. N is the keyword, and range is one of the functions. It will start with from 1 and it will go to n. So when the I becomes the value I and n becomes same, the loop will end. So first save this file. Suppose the name of the file is fact. Save it. So already one file is there. Can change its factorial. Save it and run it. So there is something wrong sentence for I in range 1 to n. So now run the program. Enter the value 5. The factorial is 24. There's something wrong there. So it will give 120 of Python series. This is the fourth videos. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like. This is the fourth video of our series. Thank you.